What's up, folks? Welcome to another episode of The Mindful Space. He's Tyler Forsberg. He's the host of your show. My name is Alex Tavella. I'm simply here just to do the intro, and then I'm out of here. We are with our good friend, Destiny Ferguson. Destiny, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you.
How was that? Was that good?
Perfect.
Can we swap?
Yep, let's go.
Right.
Oh, okay. This is really confusing.
It's just a thing we do.
Just
All right, cool. Let's run it. I love that.
What's going on, guys? Yeah, so like Alex said, you know, we have our really good friend Destiny here. Destiny works in the field like we do. Destiny is a very, very strong advocate for recovery, for mental health, for well-being. You know, she's in the gym all the time. She's a meal prep girl. She says what she's going to do, and then she shows you exactly how she does it. So I think that this is going to be a really powerful episode today, and I think that, you know, you guys will be able to get a lot out of her story, where she's been and where she is now.
Thanks.
What do
I
you
hope
think?
I can live up to that.
That's a lot to live up to. You better not underperform.
I hope, just don't have any expectations. We're gonna do the best that we can, though.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Absolutely.
All right.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you want to start with? You want to...
He does this. This
you
is
know?
what he does. He puts
Okay.
the onus on you, but I'll help you.
Okay,
I'll
touche.
help you. He
Yeah,
really does.
so
So where do we
let's-
start?
I don't know.
You decide.
We
Anywhere.
have fun here. You know, we have fun here.
Where are you from originally?
Here we go.
Originally Pensacola, Florida. So you go all the way north and then all the way west. So like right on the Florida-Alabama state line.
So you're a Florida girl. I didn't realize.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. You knew
Florida
that.
girl.
Yeah, I knew that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I asked quick. You know, we got to know all the details right off
I
the
didn't
bat.
hear that I had a twang until I came down to
little
South
twang?
Florida. Yeah.
Okay.
Some people are like, "Are you from Texas, Georgia?"
See, I never really picked that up, but we text mostly.
Yeah, we do.
text mostly.
Yeah.
It's sad,
It comes
but-
out when she gets a little, like, worked up, I think. Then the twang kind of comes out, you know?
Okay.
The little
Yeah.
Alabama roll tide, you know? That's a thing we do, too. If you say any sports teams on this podcast, like Eagles, go Birds, you know? Dogs, go Dogs. So, roll tide, you know?
Steelers.
Yeah. We don't
That's
got one for
weird.
that.
Wait a minute. Why?
My mom's all her family from Pittsburgh. So like
That makes sense.
die-hard Steelers fans growing up. I have 2 terrible towels in my apartment right now.
Yes. That's cool. And you're like diehard Steelers fan.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. So, but I'm not like I'm not one of those fans where I watch like every single football game. Like I will watch the Steelers when the Steelers are on, and like Super Bowl, I'll watch the Super Bowl. But I'm not like watching what is that like Red Zone, keeping up with every freaking team.
Yeah, you don't
nothing,
have a
like,
fantasy team
yeah,
or nothing.
no,
Yeah, okay.
no. I like the Steelers. Like that's
Yeah,
the
that's
type
cool.
of fan that I am.
Cool. You got a jersey?
No, I've never been to Jersey.
No, I said you have a jersey. It's
Oh.
a Steelers jersey.
As in a football jersey.
Yeah. Now we're talking about New Jersey.
Right.
I did. I gave it to my niece.
Okay.
But I've got slippers,
All right.
other.
I just want to make sure you're a real fan.
Yes.
'Cause there's real fans watching, so we got to be careful in the comments, you know?
Yeah, but listen, I'm that way too, though. Like, there's never a scenario where I'm going to be upset on a Monday morning over some football game that happened
No.
on Sunday.
No.
There's
Yeah.
never a scenario anywhere
Yeah.
in the world where that's going to happen.
Yeah, even any sport, though.
Yeah,
you know,
no.
these people, like, and I mean, we'll get a little off topic here, but like, even in this industry, right? Like, how many like videos did you see of like football drafts and everybody gets together? Like, football consumes people's lives to the point where when they lose, it affects their mental health.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And you get
It's
it
insane.
play-by-play on social media of whatever happened in the football game at that exact moment. Can't believe that freaking happened. What you know what I mean? Like
Right,
it's yeah, it's a lot. No, I'm not. I'm just huge supporter, but
Cool.
like
Yeah.
That's it.
That's your team, though.
yeah,
Cool. So Pensacola,
Pensacola.
the panhandle of Florida. How long did you live there? Well, your whole life, right before you came to South Florida, or
No, so probably I lived there through my teens up into probably my early 20s, and then like 4 years in Alabama with my mom, and then from
Okay.
there came to South Florida after treatment. I
Where'd
went to
you go?
treatment in Mississippi, Oxford Treatment Center,
really?
AAC facility.
How'd
Yeah,
you end up in Mississippi?
I have no idea. How do you end up?
Well,
really...
everybody comes this way usually,
Yeah.
you know? Like, we rarely
I
hear
go-
people from Florida
Sure.
go north for treatment.
So how'd
Yeah.
you get from Pensacola to Alabama?
My mom.
Your mom
Yeah,
moves?
yeah. She moved to Alabama, and then I moved. That was my home address, but like addiction was taken off pretty hard then. So like at that point, I was couch hopping, sleeping in vehicles, or not sleeping at all. So
How old are you now?
32.
No, I meant at that point. Sorry.
Take that out. Take it out.
She's like, I just gave that up for free.
Take that out. How old was I when?
At that point. Now, how old
At
are you
that
when
point?
you're moving drug? You start, addictions.
No,
setting in?
my addiction started strongly. Started with alcohol. Probably 15, 16. Like, so I would drink, and a lot of people talk about that, like, white light experience, like the alcohol touched my lips, and I knew I had arrived, or whatever the case may be. But I'll tell you, my first time getting trashed, it was on Everclear. I had Saturday detention the next day, and I woke up late, number one, and then I also woke up with vomit in my hair.
Nice.
And I felt like absolute shit. And I had to be out in the sun that day for Saturday detention. We just happened to have to go around the school property, picking up trash, in 80-degree weather. So, yeah. But even still, no matter how bad my experiences were, I kept going back. I kept going back to it until when I finally did get to a point to where, like, I was in the bar on a Tuesday, on a Wednesday, obviously on the weekends. I could go with a group of friends, or I could go by myself and just show up. Somebody was going to be there that I knew, or I was just happy and content, like, by myself, as long as I was drinking,
Right.
So
You really had a good run with alcohol.
Oh, I had a really good run with alcohol.
Okay.
And then what?
I never knew that. I always thought it was just like a drug thing, because for me, like I had the little, drinking at the bar and stuff where we come from. It's normal. You hang out with your friends at the bar,
Yeah.
But it was like drugs, it was mainly drugs. I didn't know you were like an alcoholic.
No, and so my sister, she still is out there actively using, hardcore drug addict, and I had experiences with her growing up to where it was like, I will never take a pill, I will never, use a syringe, nothing like that. And then in 2012, at that point, maybe I had taken like a Loratab, broke my wrist one time, whatever. I got in a really bad car accident and was ejected from the vehicle, broke my femur bone a couple times along with my pelvis. I was DOA. I was life-flighted to the hospital, almost lost my right leg.
Were you driving?
Huh?
Were you driving? Tell us a little bit about that.
No, I wasn't driving. I blacked out, and I let my ex drive. They were just as tore up as I was, so it didn't really matter. It had been raining that night. I had a Jeep. My back tires started slipping. From then, this is all what I was told. I have no recollection of probably a week or so leading up to the accident, and I couldn't start remembering my days until I had been discharged from the hospital.
Okay, so that was going to be my question. So
Yeah.
you firsthand don't remember any of this, right?
I firsthand, even from like the time before and some time after,
Right.
to this day, it's like it never happened. The only thing I can go off of is like what my family tells me, the people that were involved at that time, whether it was like the doctors and the physical therapists that I had to go see for a while. But to this day, that point in my life, it's like it never happened for me.
Okay, so let's take a step back. 'Cause
Okay.
you kind of threw that out there, but this is a big moment.
Yeah,
this is a big moment in your
Okay,
life.
yeah.
So, if you can, and if you can, I get it. If you can, what do you remember prior to that 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 you can separate of this is what I remember, not what I was told.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Holy cow. I've tried.
Like, was that a couple days? And I'm sure the accident probably didn't help with memory of prior to, but can
Yeah.
you kind of figure out,
like what had happened?
not even what had happened, but like, what do you remember, right? There was Destiny, right? There was this terrible accident, and then there was the aftermath of that. What do you remember? Or what's the last thing if you can? I know this is tough.
The only
Prior
thing
to
I
the
know is
accident.
I was at a house party. It was a
Okay.
house party in Milton, and that's
And that's what you remember.
it.
That's the
Yeah,
last thing you remember. This is same night?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So at the house party, left the house party, going back home, and that's somewhere where the accident happened.
Gotcha. So
And-
last thing you remember essentially is you're at a house party. You know that happened.
Yes.
Right.
I knew that I was at a house party.
Right.
And after that, I remember glimpses of being at my mother's house, but like can't walk, nothing like that. And like that's when I started remembering my days, and then getting told that like my Jeep was totaled. I was dead on arrival. I almost lost my right leg, but they put a rod in there that replaces my whole entire femur bone. Wow. Obviously, with the injuries that I had and the concussion, like they gave me a lot of pain medicine in the hospital, and then even out of the hospital.
Yeah, they
and
sent you home with it.
and again, well, let's backtrack. Something like that, when you're told that, there was trauma with that.
Sure.
That should have been a pivotal moment in my life. Like, okay, your drinking was already bad. Now your drinking almost killed you. So let's like take a step back and reevaluate some things, right? Because at this point, I had dropped out of high school, right? I think 10th grade. Because the friends that I was hanging out with, we like to skip school, and at the time, Four Loko was the thing. It makes me sick to my stomach now.
I can smell the lemon one as soon as you said it.
Yeah. So and drink, and then got pulled out of high school to go to adult high school where there's zero accountability, but we were gonna make it work.
Yeah, Alex knows about that.
and didn't, obviously, So already alcohol had started causing a lot of problems. And then now I almost died in a car accident, and should have. Like, the doctor told me the impact and my Jeep flipping, it's actually, ironically, being as drunk as I was told is what saved my life, because I was able to loosen up.
You're not tense, right?
And then
You hear
being
that. You hear that a
ejected,
lot.
he said if it would have been the other way around, my body would have tensed up, and I more than likely would have broke half the bones in my body.
Wow.
So being ejected and being as drunk as I was is what saved my life.
Were you ejected out of the windshield?
Passenger window.
Okay. How far away from the car were you? Do you know when they found you?
I don't know where the Jeep was. I just know that from the passenger window, I ended up in the middle of the road. That's where I was when the first responder got there. I didn't have a pulse, so that's when they made the announcement of like DOA, and then I got life lighted, and somewhere in there, they got my heartbeat going again.
That's insane.
Yeah. So never reevaluated. Didn't even cross my mind like shit. I need to take a look at some things.
Well, here's the thing, and it's interesting knowing what we know now, because you already had a glimpse of that. Because the average person, right, if the first time I drink, right, the average person, I wake up, I feel terrible, and I have vomit in my hair, most people are going to be like, I'm never doing that again.
Yeah.
Never.
For us, it's like, see you next Friday.
Yeah.
So
like
you
that
already...
was a horrible freaking experience.
Right, this is my
but
first rodeo,
Round
but...
2, let's go. It'll be better, right? It'll get better.
Right.
And that's
what
that
we tell
insanity.
ourselves.
Like a completely horrible night, pissed off everybody, got in a fight, whatever. But we're gonna have a good time next time, right? Like it sucked, but we're gonna keep coming back. We're gonna make this work.
Yeah, this will never happen to me again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Until it does.
So, all right, this happens, right? Where are you physically? Can't walk. How long does that last?
Oh God. So I started. I want to say bed rest, and then from there wheelchair, from there a walker and crutches. At one point, I had lost all muscle in my right leg, that it was like a toothpick compared to my left leg.
Just skin on the bone.
Extremely weak. And I mentioned the painkillers, right? So just like alcohol, not...
So prior to that, this is all, for the most part, alcohol-induced.
Yes, this is all alcohol-induced. Extreme pothead, but as far as the problems that were in my life, it was all alcohol-induced in the way that I felt. up to this point. Then come the painkillers. And again, it was horrible at first, right? Like I would take one, I would get sick, like nauseous, throw up, try and eat something, and then pass out. Wake up, same thing. Take one, get sick, nauseous, pass out. It was a vicious cycle. Not vicious, but a cycle that I wasn't a fan of, to the point to where like one of my appointments, I was like, can you guys please lower the dose? Because I can't. I sleep and I throw up and I take one and I keep doing it. And kept taking them, right? And as like the weeks and times went on, oh gosh, I don't feel it as much. So we'll add one, right? And then some time goes on and let me take another one.
Suddenly your stomach's kind of used to it at this point. You're not throwing up
so
as much.
We're not getting sick. Like now I get to like stay up and feel that euphoric feeling.
You started to fall in love with it.
Oh my gosh. So don't get me wrong. Alcohol, I had a lot of fun with alcohol and I had a lot of shitty times with alcohol. But I would probably tell you my first true love with my addiction was opiates. It was so much leading up to the point of like my tolerance. As it progressed, you could tell, because like physical therapy, like going to that, like I didn't care to go anymore, right? As long as I had my pain pills, we'll figure it out.
That was your physical therapy.
Exactly. Yeah, that was my physical therapy. And it just progressed and it got worse and it got worse until the point to where like I was running out of a script of like 70 to 120. Oh my God.
Days.
3 days.
Yeah.
Three.
I remember that.
3 days. Like eating 10 at a time, every hour, on the hour. And my doctor, caught on very quickly and was like, all right, no more narcotics. We're, gabapentin, something like that.
Right.
So then, fuck, now I have to go to the streets.
Right.
And from there, it progressed.
Can I pause you right there? I just want to ask a question.
Yeah.
When you got cut off from the doctor and you had to go to the streets, is that where you found out what sick was? Like were you at that point yet where you started to feel dope sick?
Yes,
or maybe you didn't
and
even have
no.
any time in between. You could have hit to the streets right away.
I found out what dope sick was once I had gotten involved with heroin.
Okay.
Then that's when I got to experience like true dope sickness and what that felt like. But it progressed, and as my addiction progressed, my quality of life declined tremendously. The things that I cared about, the people, looking back on it now, like hindsight 2020, it was like as that grew and I fell more in love with that, like anything quality that I had in my life just slowly like was being sucked out of me, just like little by little by little.
Yeah, until there was nothing.
And once I had moved on from the pain pills and found something that was cheaper, right? Like this is how my addict brain co-signed this was, it's cheaper, it's stronger, and you don't have to do as much. So like, why not?
Yeah, this all makes perfect sense to you at that point.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Rationalize the hell out of it.
So does alcohol ever come back into play during this time?
I was just thinking that.
I tried, right? So like the whole maybe we'll change substances. Like when it got really, really, really bad and I hated myself and like wanted to die but never had the balls to like pull the trigger. All right, well we'll just, alcohol.
So it never came back though.
No.
It never came back after the accident. Once opiates set in, that was it.
When opiates set in,
Sure.
it was opiates.
Got it.
And then it was just substances at that point.
Right.
Like I would go to the bar and try and get back in the lifestyle of like friends that I thought were healthy that like drank but like didn't have a problem, and I would go there, but I would go there high.
Sure.
And I would have
And
the
that same
same
drink would be
drink
there
in my
for 8
hand
hours.
for
That's exactly
hours.
right.
Like I
Right.
would sip
Right.
it, you know, and
Right.
then be like, my high's coming down, so I got to figure that out real quick.
Yeah.
Right.
And then,
Back to the call.
walk around all night with the same drink.
Melted ice.
To the point to where people would ask me, I'd be like, no, this is different. I've already finished that
Yeah.
one and got another one.
Yeah.
I wanna ask a philosophical question. It's for both of you.
Okay.
We've all heard the term the gateway drug, right?
Yeah.
Right. And what would you consider the gateway drug?
I'll let you go first.
You know, the mainstream answer you always hear is marijuana is the
Yeah.
gateway
Yeah.
drug.
I smoked weed for years. Functional, I guess. My personal gateway drug, I believe, was alcohol. I don't know. I think everybody probably has their own personal gateway drug that kind of like kicks off whatever their addiction is going to look like, you know?
Sure. I personally believe, to me, if I had to name a gateway drug, to me, I think it is alcohol. I don't dismiss weed or marijuana or any of that as not a drug, because it is. To me, it's the loserest of loser drugs.
So,
But-
order pizza?
Yes, exactly. But here's the thing. Here's why I
Sit on the couch.
Here's why I
so
believe.
high.
Here's why I believe alcohol is the gateway drug, because a stoner, a stoner's never going to get high enough to say, all right, yeah, I'll blow a line with
Yeah,
you.
never.
But drunk enough, I'm
Let's
willing
do
to
a
try
line to
just
sober up.
Correct.
I'm willing to do just about anything in a
Yeah.
drunk enough state.
My head's exactly where yours is. Like, you know, I've never, and I grew up with a lot of like pot heads, right? I have never once seen somebody who was like addicted to weed growing up. Like, just
which is
jump
totally
to
a
heroin.
thing. I don't care what anybody says.
So you can
No, it
100% be
100%.
addicted to weed. You could, I mean, there's like withdrawal symptoms now from smoking these like concentrates. I don't know if you heard about it, like
I have.
working at your facility,
Yeah.
but like you can withdraw from weed because the shit's so strong now. It's not, they don't even give you flour. They give you, shit looks like paste, you know, and you smoke it and you have withdrawals. But I never seen a pothead just go straight to heroin. But like you said, when I see somebody drunk, I could get them to do anything.
Right.
You know, you come to me hammered, yo, try this, no problem. You know, and then you wake up the next morning like, oh my God, I can't believe I got so drunk that I got high. So
Right.
I agree with you, alcohol, but Laura made a sick point when she was on. She said trauma's the gateway drugs. You know, like the gateway drug is trauma. You know, so in order for you to kind of get wrapped up in a lifestyle like that, you kind of have to have something underlying where you almost don't like yourself, you know, and he touched on that when we did an episode, that you have to have something inside you that you don't like in order for you to, you know, what do you think about that?
So I agree with that and don't agree with that, because being in recovery in the rooms and going to meetings for a little over 7 years now, like I've heard that, right? And for me, like trauma did fuel my addiction and like did lead me up to that, right? It was a way to escape. But then I have heard stories from alcoholics and addicts that like their life on paper looked phenomenal, you know? Yeah, maybe they were dying inside, like always felt out of place, like mental health was a component. But I have heard stories where like everything was fine.
Yeah.
Great job, great family, great childhood. All of these things were great, but once they put a substance in their body, that phenomenon of craving, that
Yeah.
mental obsession, that allergy kicks in, and it's, you know, and then that's all she wrote.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely, trauma is.
Yeah, there's multiple perspectives. You
Yeah,
know?
I don't like to easily inject the word trauma,
Okay.
right? Because I don't want to soften the blow of what trauma is. And I think there is a difference between trauma and a dislike for myself or want of escape. Essentially, when we were on, the point I made
Yeah.
was if I liked myself enough, normal and sober, then I wouldn't want to get high.
Yeah, you called it like a fault of humanity, right? Like our want to
it's
escape.
right. But so I, you know, she makes a point, I think, but I wouldn't necessarily want to tag that on everyone because it almost loosens the
blow.
definition of what trauma is because it's a real thing, right? And not, maybe not necessarily liking myself, right? And it's not even a dislike, but maybe I feel like, all right, I'm a little embarrassed or I'm a little shy. But if I get high, maybe I'll have a little more courage to talk to this girl. That's not necessarily trauma, but that's something that's a deficiency in me
Inside yourself.
that I want to get out of myself to try to pursue. So while
It's a void that you're trying to
right,
fill.
she makes a point. She makes a point, and I think there is a lot of that in there. But I wouldn't want a blanket statement that because I just
100%.
I wouldn't want to.
It would do more harm than good.
I wouldn't. I don't want to desensitize what trauma is.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But I do like the alcohol thing, because alcohol is socially acceptable. So that's the only reason why we don't call it the gateway drug.
That is why it is. Look, I was in psychology 2 semesters ago, and there was a class project we had to do it as a group where they gave us a list of like alcohol, Xanax, like all of these groups of drugs, and we had to, from like least dangerous to most dangerous. Oh my gosh, and it was like a white light moment for me because all of these students are going before, and it was like alcohol, like tobacco and alcohol were like the least of, right? But then you've been in this field and you've had your own experience with it, and it was like I put alcohol up there with heroin, with IV drug use, because it is so easily acceptable and easily accessed, like you go to the gas station and you can get alcohol or Walmart or Publix or wherever.
Anywhere.
It's so easily accessible and socially, acceptable.
Sure, and not just that, the effects of it, right, are so much different. Considering, right, let's go heroin, right? Not fentanyl, not cut bad.
Yeah.
You can't really take enough opiates to black out, right? DOA, don't remember alcohol, right? So not only is it socially acceptable, but the mental state that it puts us in is so much farther away from ourselves than opiates, than cocaine, right? But
The
yet,
only thing comparable is benzos.
but yet it's like it's in Walgreens, like in the next to the milk right now.
Just gotta go to the corner store,
Right.
pick up enough that you'd be blacked out within an hour, 2 hours.
Right.
It's dangerous, and it was just eye opening to find out like so many people think that it's like it's okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, people are dying all the time. They're killing people. They're killing themselves in car accidents or liver disease. Like their liver is shutting down. But it's just, for some reason in this nation, it is so socially
And another thing too,
acceptable.
like on a pill bottle, it says like if you take this for an extended period of time, you could become physically addicted, right? And there's all these warning labels.
Yeah.
Why doesn't it? Cigarettes, right? Talk about cancer. Why doesn't alcohol have a warning label on it that says if you consume alcohol for more than 14 days, you will become physically addicted? I don't know. I just thought about that.
Really?
Right? Because there isn't one, right? So there's a Surgeon General warning on cigarettes.
Sure.
Every pill bottle you've ever touched has 10 warnings on it.
Yeah.
Don't drive. Don't operate heavy machinery. You grab a bottle of Stoli and it says Stoli. It has the ingredients on the side, calories, and that's it.
That's funny because I've always like I've noticed on the cigarettes, and I've noticed on like pill bottles and even like commercials and stuff like that, but I never even thought to like look to see
I
like
didn't
the
either until
warning
just right
label
now.
on it's like alcohol.
Yeah.
That's whatever.
It's just so acceptable.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
so
no,
acceptable.
I mean I can tell you the answer.
Okay.
The answer is alcohol, lobbyist dollars. That's the answer. Alcohol has been, and companies and alcoholic beverages are a large enough section of industry in our country that they have the lobbyist dollars where,
Yeah.
they kill that kind of stuff.
Yeah, the taxing too, right? Look like prohibition after prohibition.
Sure.
they tax the
Sure.
shit out of
And-
it. So the
and-
government's profiting off of alcohol, which why would we put a label if we profit off of it?
and you know, and I'm kind of up on this stuff because I worked in the tobacco industry for a long time. So you know, with FDA and regulations. But yeah, it's lobbying dollars. You know, they have the dollars to like kill that kind of stuff at the Senate, Congress level.
Yeah.
And a lot of the big guys, like even for example, and we're a little off topic here, but we're
okay.
here.
I love it.
Like
Yeah, we're having fun.
like the big tobacco companies, and I'm not talking premium cigars, like I'm talking, you know, Philip Morris's and all of that.
Yeah.
They are okay with whatever extra regulation it takes and it may put on them to kill like the vape industry because it just strengthens their industry, right? So it's all lobbying dollars. That's why you still see alcohol commercials. You know, that's why Bud Light is still sponsoring sporting events. You know, imagine if like you watch the Super Bowl and there was a Marlboro commercial. It's not happening.
God.
No.
Yeah.
But we all see the Anheuser-Busch Clydesdales.
Yeah. Even in magazines, right?
Right.
They took out all those cigarette
Right.
ads in magazines and just replaced them with alcohol ones.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that is because, you know, there was a time when we tried this prohibition thing and it didn't work. So now it's like, well, okay, we'll just kind of leave that alone. We tried that once.
Yeah.
But anyway, we got a little off topic. All right, so back to you.
Yeah.
All right. So at this point, you're through recovery, physical recovery of accident, right?
Yeah. You
I
can
mean,
say that.
you're not obviously not
My
taking
own
care of
personal
yourself,
recovery,
but
yeah.
no, we're talking about accident. You're past that.
Yeah.
Full blown addicted to opiates, right? Now, where are you? Are you in Alabama? Are you in
Back
Florida?
and forth.
You're back and forth.
I'll tell you where I was. I was where the heroin was and
Gotcha.
the drug dealer.
Gotcha.
Like, that's where I was.
Living on your own, living with parents, living with whoever had an opportunity to live with, and
On the nights that I did sleep, I probably wherever I was getting high.
got it.
You
Got
know?
it. Got it.
Yeah, wherever you nodded out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, what happens? Somewhere in there, there's a moment, right? There's a moment that gets you.
No. The first time I got pushed, I was given an ultimatum. I didn't want to. I was nowhere near ready to stop.
Right.
Which is probably a big reason why I relapsed the first time that I tried to get clean. I mean, and when I tell you, living in my own personal hell, I would have rode that for as long as I could have. I hated you because I hated me. I didn't know the concept of like the one love that I did know was heroin. I had a problem with self. I was the problem and the drugs were my solution. You talked about, earlier, not necessarily trauma, but like for me, I had zero sense of identity until I got into recovery. Like I had such a fear of not being loved and liked and not fitting in that like I navigated to what I thought to the people around me, what I thought they liked, right? So like the music that you listened to, the energy you gave off, the clothes that you wore, like that's what I navigated to, because I didn't think that I was good enough. So I'm going to mold into what I think you want me to be and how you want me to act. And I rode that wave, until I got clean. So zero sense of identity, hated life, didn't want to live, didn't have the balls to pull the trigger, hated myself. So of course I hate everybody around me. But it was a situation. It was probably God intervening. Not even probably, I know it was God intervening that like, my ex at the time had overdosed and like her family was like, you got to go, like you're going to treatment. And then I was given, the ultimatum, well, I'm not going unless you go. Okay. Of course I want her to go. Like I don't really want to, but yeah, sure. If it'll get you to go, because that was a really close call. And of course, like the codependency, the toxic, like we were only able to give what we had, and that was practically nothing. And neither one of us really had anything to give. So I went the first time, and like seeds were planted, you know.
Where'd you go? Not necessarily name, but where? South Florida.
So no, that was when
was
I
the
went
Mississippi.
to
That was Mississippi?
that was Etta, Mississippi. When I
Okay.
tell you, beautiful facility. They got a barn in the back. We got to ride horses. We had to clean up horse shit every Saturday, which totally cool, you know.
Right.
She went from
but-
riding horses to cleaning up shit. I don't know, and was equally as excited.
No,
so okay.
well, because it
I'm trying to
was
give Alex a look on that.
it
one.
was it was responsibility, right? Like
Right.
it
Yeah.
gave us purpose.
Right.
And I'm always of the like an addict or alcoholic that has a perfect is damn near unstoppable.
Yeah.
Like once we get a purpose, life really blossoms at that point. But the facility was beautiful, and they have it set up. I mean, if you AMA, you got about 10 miles before you reach any sort of house or gas station. I mean, this place is literally...
So AMA if you want to. Go
Oh,
ahead.
yeah,
Go
go
ahead.
see ya.
Yeah.
See ya. You got about 30 minutes before we see you walking back on
Right,
property.
right. And you got about
but-
40 minutes before it gets
Exactly.
dark, so
but
don't go
like,
too far.
yeah, I know. So, but it was on like a lake. Like we were able to make fires at night. Like it was.
That's really cool.
It was good. And seeds were planted. You know, the staff there was great. I went there 2 times, obviously, because I relapsed the first time. But my experience there, it was really good, you know. But like I said, the first time I was given an ultimatum, and I was like, yeah, you know, I'll do it. That's fine. But I wasn't personally ready. No matter the ultimatums, no matter how many people begged me or, you know, I wasn't ready. So it was only a matter of time before I relapsed. And when I did relapse, you're talking about 4 months, so strongly outweighed the years that I had been using before. When I tell you shit plummeted quick, oh my God, it happened so fast.
It's so interesting, and you know, you're a big fitness girl. We'll get into that. But now they talk about muscle memory. It's like the same thing.
100%.
Like addiction memory. It's like,
Yes.
you know, what took
100%.
you like your lifetime to get to this terror.
Yeah.
Get yourself together for a little bit and go back and watch how quick you get back. It's like literally, it's like muscle memory.
Oh my God, it was like night and day.
Right.
It happened so quickly. I mean, I ended up in jail again. I mean, I spent 10 months in jail, 6 months in jail, just in and out. Went back to jail. Overdosed at my mom's house, and she found me. You know, went to jail, got out, probation, stipulation, you know, in the county where my grandmother, I call her Meemaw, where my Meemaw lived. Overdosed there within 48 hours of being released, and she found me. And at that point, my family's like,
We're done.
we don't know what to do. Got my probation officer on the phone, like had to report there as soon as I got out of the hospital. They were done. They were like, you know, we don't know what to do. That's cool. Bring her to my office. Shit. Okay. You know.
We know what to do with her.
But and that was it's I can see it clearly now, like that was God again intervening and doing for me what I couldn't do for myself, because why that man chose to give me an ultimatum of like, I mean, he looked me right in my eyes and said, you are not a criminal, you are a drug addict, and these are consequences of your addiction. So you go to treatment one more time if you get that lined up, and we're going to monitor you while you're there, or you can just go to prison, because that's where I was, right? Like, that's how many times I had violated on these felony charges that I had. So, like, prison, treatment. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's try treatment
Sure,
one
yeah.
more time.
Go back playing with the
You
horses.
know,
yeah.
exactly.
What was the charge?
What were the charges?
Yeah, your felony charges that you were running away from.
Controlled substance without prescription, weed,
They were all drug related.
of course they were
Yeah.
all drug, except driving with suspended license.
Okay.
But
I don't know anything about that.
yeah.
We won't
So
go-
this was at that point, that was like my 3rd or 4th time being pulled over, because I didn't care. I'm going to drive to get to where I need to get what I need to get. And in the state of Florida, the 3rd time that you're pulled over, become what's known as a habitual offender. And then it goes from like misdemeanor to felony, and they just start taking your ass to jail after that every time they pull you over. So felony, and then, or driving with suspended license, and then the rest were drug related. You know, I have been arrested for fighting, but thank God none of those stuck.
Yeah. Good.
So.
Yeah.
I was angry. I was an angry drunk.
I can't picture that.
Angry,
definitely can.
angry drunk.
She's an angry,
Angry
texter.
Jack.
Let alone
That's not, I mean,
You are.
it's, you know,
With Alex,
I
you are.
reciprocate the energy that's given to me, right?
No.
Yes.
You reciprocate the energy that you perceive. Destiny she'll be in the group
It's so
text like,
true. It's so
okay,
true.
I'm getting attacked. Here we go.
Yeah,
We're like, no.
Yeah, right away she pulls out the machine gun. Yeah.
I wish we could pull up and you guys could see the text messages and how I'm bullied in these group chats.
Anybody got Zoom?
We'll take screenshots. And then
Yeah, no, I will take screenshots too, and I will show you what I'm talking about. Bullied. Yeah, Destiny, you know, you could, I don't even know what you guys say. I really want to pull it up right now and just prove a point.
We have fun.
Usually
But-
it's Destiny's fault.
Yeah.
It's okay, Ben.
Exactly.
It's
Everything
okay,
on
Ben. Don't
Destiny.
worry.
It's my
It's
fault.
okay,
Yeah.
Ben. Don't worry. We know it's Destiny's
Yeah.
fault.
Remember
Yeah,
she tried to cop out with Ben?
Yeah.
Oh no, maybe that might have been the
No,
other way
Ben
around.
tried to cover for her.
Yeah, he tried to
that's
cover
what it
for
was.
you.
That's what it
And then we
was.
called
It's
him
gonna
out,
start.
and he was like,
Ben's always
all
got
right.
my back.
I was lying.
All right,
Ben's like,
all
I'm
right.
sorry, I was
All right.
lying.
So take us to when you finally get it. South Florida?
South Florida.
Okay.
Didn't take off quick. Like, I didn't talk to anybody in the house where I was in treatment. I didn't. I sat in the back of the rooms on my phone. I didn't want to be there. For me though, like, prison time was a good. Like, I can't fuck up this time. You know, like something's got to give.
Yeah.
I think God, I know God intervened again, where it was like I was able to see once like the drugs and everything and it got out of my system, and I could just sit there and like process and like evaluate the things that I had been doing and where I was, which was nowhere, you know, 25 years old, can't hold a job, don't have a license, don't have a car, family doesn't want anything to do with you, you know, until you can get yourself like right, help yourself. What the fuck am I doing with my life? You know, 25 years old, and when I tell you have shit to show for it, I had nothing to show for it. I had been stripped of everything good that I had known, and just had life completely sucked out of me. Like, I had nothing to lose anymore except death. Death was, and I had experienced that a few times,
Right.
you know, but like staying dead, like just not coming back, not being able to live. And it was like, what am I doing? And I heard it in one of the meetings, like, you have nothing to lose, only to gain. There is no foul play, there is no harm in just seeing what can happen if you like give this a fucking shot. What else do you have? I didn't have anything.
Yeah.
You know? And I remember once I started like listening, right? Like once I got out of self and like opened my ears up in the meetings, man, I hear these stories and it's like, holy shit, there's no way you went through that or you felt like that or you had, you know what I mean? And like, then you see this person up there telling this story and just that aura and energy like coming off of them. I was like, there's no way that you are just glistening like that and are happy and like radiating this positivity when you've come from a background like what you just shared in this meeting, right? So then that clicked. I was able to start relating, and just little by little, the program did exactly what it promised, right? And it gave me a life beyond my wildest dreams, a life that 7.5 years ago, I wasn't able to picture that this is where I would be now. And it's not materialistic, you know. I don't have a mansion. I don't have the car of my dreams. You know, I'm not walking around with like Prada and Gucci, or, you know what I mean? But like, I'm genuinely happy with myself and the life that I have today. The step work, the people that I have in my life that have become family. Like everything that this program and that book and those meetings and the fellowship, everything that they told me would happen, happened when I was able to get out of my own fucking way and put one foot in front of the other. So I spend every day trying to give back, which so cliche, but was so freely given to me. You know, for the longest time, I surrounded myself with people no better than I was in my addiction, right? Like people that we used each other. You know,
absolutely.
you had what I wanted. So like, I didn't want friends when I was getting high. I didn't want to get high with you. You just have something that I want.
Yeah.
So I'm going to slither in there and figure out how I can get it from you, you know, manipulation. But then these people in these rooms, right, they're just checking on me to see how I'm doing. They're just showing up for me because they, like, really want to see me get better and do better, you know? And
Yeah, it's so cool how that works.
Oh, my God, it's incredible. And I remember the first time, like, my old sponsor had told me was, like, I'm not a bad person trying to be good. I'm just a sick person that's trying to get well, you know? Because there was a lot of darkness in my addiction, and I had done a lot of hurtful shit, and I had hurt a lot of people, and I had done a lot of things. And I carried that for a while. Like I couldn't let that go. I let that define and put up this roadblock to like the woman that I was like desperately wanting to become, you know? And that's one of my biggest things. I share it in my story all the time. Like, you know, the whole concept in the book of like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, you know, two completely different people when we're sober and clean versus like when we're drinking and getting high. Two completely different people. Sure. And like that doesn't define who we are when we get clean and just live every day to be a good person and want to help the next addict or alcoholic. And a lot of the times just helping people in general, you know, seeing an old lady like returning her cart in the parking lot. No, you're fine.
Yeah.
I'll take it back for you, you know, holding the door open for somebody. And this is someone who like, I freaking hated you. Everything about you I despised and like wanted nothing to do with anybody, to like trying to be the most selfless person I can be today and like being considerate before I like make a move.
Okay, you think everything through now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Can I take a quick left? I want to take a left.
Yeah. Absolutely. I
A
knew you
philosophical.
had a
No, because she just brought it to me.
Hasn't
Okay.
said a word.
No,
That's when you know he's going.
Yeah.
No, it's not. But she just brought it to me. Sometimes I take a left. It's fun. I get
I like
to get
it.
to
We'll take
introspective
lefts
people.
all the time,
I
as
love
long
it.
as
All
we
right.
get back
all
on.
right. All right. You brought up a point. No judgment. I want to know your answer.
Okay.
You bring the cart back?
Oh, 100%. I can't.
Well, shh.
Okay.
You bring the cart back?
100%.
How do you feel about people that don't bring the cart back? Are you a cart Nazi? I don't know if that's the right word, but are you?
If I'm going to be 100% honest, yeah, it makes me feel some type of way.
Okay.
It does.
You judge people?
I try not to, but yeah, I do.
I do. I will judge you if you don't bring that damn cart back.
I was actually
Bring the cart. There's no reason. There's slots in the parking lot. Bring the cart back.
Yeah, so I actually had a situation happen where this lady got her cart, right? And she pushed it behind somebody's car that was right next to her, right?
Like in front
I was
of her.
gone.
Like in front of her?
Well, they would park like this,
Yeah.
right? So
Okay.
she gets groceries in and then pushes her cart behind this person's car.
Yeah.
I'm pulled out of my spot watching this. I jump out the car.
Yeah.
Grab the cart, lady's in reverse. I put it right behind her car. I get back in my car. She gets out and puts it in the same spot. Like I didn't just do all of that for her to put it back in the, what do you call it, carousel or whatever, right? So I do it again. She does it a third time. I said, ma'am, now this is what we're going to do. I'm going to walk with you and I'm going to teach you how to do this because you obviously don't know how. So come on, you're going to follow me and I'm going to push the cart. I'm going to show you where it goes so that next time that lady doesn't have to get out of her car to move your cart. We don't do that. You're an adult. She had 2 kids in the back seat. I didn't know. You know, you can't see.
Yeah.
And then she's
So?
like, my kids are in the car.
So?
I'm like, perfect. They're going to learn too, you know, because they're going to do exactly what their mother does. But like to have the nerve to like put it behind somebody else's car, I mean, I can understand leaving in the grass, whatever. That upsets me, but I do want to join like that squad of people that go around with the vests, you know, and have the alarm thing on and chase them around. I would love to be a part of that. Yeah, it's a pet peeve. I hate people that do that.
It is.
A common excuse that I hear is like, oh, somebody has kids, 2 kids, right? So you don't have any kids. You don't have any kids.
Mm-hmm.
Piece of advice, right? For a guy with 2 kids who goes out with his 2 kids.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know you had 2 kids.
I have 2 kids, yes.
They're awesome too, both of them. Yeah.
Especially if you're in like a Target. The average carousel is what? 5-6 cars away at most, right?
most.
The 20 seconds that you get of your kids in the car and you walking that cart back to the carousel may be the best 20 seconds of peace that you get all day. Quiet, your kids are in the car,
Nice.
you get 20 seconds to breathe and walk back to the car.
Yeah,
So
nobody's
excuse.
coming to steal your kids
Nobody's
in 20
Lock
seconds.
your door, you have your keys in
Yeah,
there.
you got your
Yeah.
keys in your hand.
Yes.
I've never thought
There's
of that.
never an excuse.
But see, that's what, like, getting clean and sober, like, that's what recovery does for us.
Yep.
Like, and oh my God, I'll yell it at the top of my lungs on the tallest building. Like, how lucky are we, right? People living for years in our own personal hell, dying on the inside, actually dying and having to be brought back to life, homeless, whatever. Like, we get this second chance, where we just become like the best versions of ourselves and like just want to be good people. We're like, we are the people, no matter what, rain or shine, like we're gonna put that cart back.
Yeah.
And if we pass a car on the way, we're probably gonna grab that cart too, because it's just the right thing to do. And like, that's what at least recovery has done for me, was like, I could have a crowd full of people, or it could just be me by myself. Like, I just want to be the best I can be in the day and offer help where it's needed. Right? Like, that's
love
what
that.
recovery has allowed us to do, was like going through the steps, you know. Step 1, depending on whatever fellowship you're in, whether it's AA or NA, right, talks about addiction and alcohol. Step 1 is the only one that mentions alcohol or addiction, right? The rest is for us, right? To create and start that spiritual foundation and relationship, which higher power, for me, I'm going to say God, because for me it is God, you know, cleaning up all the wreckage of our past, because let's face it, we have caused a lot of fucking harm, right, when we were out there being assholes, you know, and then making the amends, and then just, I mean, and then being able to turn around and like give that to somebody else. Like, don't get me wrong, year 1, like, I needed to be selfish. I needed to figure out me, because up until this point, I had no idea who Destiny was and what Destiny liked and loved, you know? But then you get to turn around and, like, give that away to somebody else. That feeling is incredible. It's more than incredible. It's more than magnificent. It's more than, like, blissful or epic. There is no emotion that I could put to it, because I'm underselling it at that point. It's like something that hopefully everybody that gets into recovery like gets to experience. It's powerful.
Yeah, that's the goal, right? That's what we're looking for when we get sober.
Yeah.
That's like the end of the tunnel for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think even, you know, when we talk about giving it back, right? And I think giving it back comes in a lot of forms,
Yeah.
right?
1,000 different forms.
Yeah, it's not
you
just
know,
sponsorship.
No. You know, I got high for the better part of a decade, hard, right? And for that better part of a decade, I was only interested in getting high, the pursuit of getting high, and how am I going to make enough money to continue to get high? And that consumed my thoughts for 24 hours a day, right? And the only interest that I could have in you is if you have the same goal as I do, and then maybe it may be easier for us to achieve that goal together
Yeah.
in some kind of way, right? So understanding that, right, and knowing that that was how I thought all day, every day for a decade, even to just have the ability to ask somebody how they're doing, and if they ain't doing so good, maybe it was just a informal greeting to me, but maybe they want to dump some shit off, and to be able to just be there and let them dump it on me, you know, that's giving it back too.
Yeah.
You know, because before, but I don't got time for this. I'm dope sick. I gotta go.
I gotta
Yeah.
hear it.
Yeah.
You know. So there's
Sorry,
all kinds
not
of ways.
sorry.
Yeah,
So
sorry,
funny
not
you
sorry. I gotta
just
go.
said
Exactly.
You feel terrible? All right, let's go get high. Come on, let's go.
Yeah,
We gotta go.
That's what I have to offer you.
Right,
You
that's
wanna
what I have to
I'm
offer
going to
you.
get high. You want to
Right,
feel better?
right.
We'll
Come
numb
on.
it out.
Go.
Let's
Yeah.
go. Yeah.
It's
That's
funny
all
you
we
said
had
that
to
though.
offer.
Like I say, how you doing to everybody, and
Yeah.
I do not expect you to tell me ever. It's just part of
course.
who I am and how
Yeah.
I grew up. It's part of my culture. How you
doing?
doing? How you doing? He yells at me.
you doing?
He
How you-
goes,
how you
nobody's
doing?"
answering you on the camera. I'm like, hey guys, how you doing? Like, don't do that. You're asking somebody, they're not answering you. But when I first got clean, I'd walk around like, hey, how you doing? And these kids would just dump on me.
Yeah.
Like, yo, what are you doing? Like,
Yeah.
I asked you how you doing.
Tyler's like, whoa,
Keep it
wait a
moving.
minute.
Yeah, you get what you asked for.
So
Yeah.
I bitched to my sponsor about it, right? And he's like, who the fuck do you think you are? I'm like, I'm Tyler Forsberg. Nice to meet you. You know, like some dickhead answer I gave him.
Yeah.
And he's like, you think like you ask somebody how they're doing. Like, so it's either stop asking
Right.
or listen.
Yeah.
And when you start to listen, you'll realize how much listening to that guy helps you. And then you might have something to say that he's going to listen to. You just help somebody. Just shut the fuck up.
And that's the thing. Sometimes you don't even need to have something to say,
No.
and they don't even necessarily care if you're actually listening to every word.
No.
They just need somebody to shut up for a second and let me dump it off.
Be present.
Just let me dump it off.
Yeah.
So, and I love that you said that because that's one thing that my current sponsor now, my God. She came into my life exactly when I needed her, but that's one thing that she taught me, right? Was like being that safe space for somebody, but sometimes it is just offering that space. So when somebody you can tell is off or whatever the case may be, like, hey, do you want to just unload? Or do you want feedback? Because sometimes, man, I just want to get it off my chest.
I'll ask that prior too.
Exactly.
I'll
Like
ask that prior
sometimes
too.
I just want to get it off my chest.
And that's cool too.
Let me bitch. Let me hear what I'm saying out loud, and you just sit there so I don't look crazy and I'm like saying this when
Right.
I'm by myself, you know.
I just
and
had
then
deja vu. He does say that.
Out of left field, you want to give me some constructive criticism. I'm not ready for that yet.
Right.
I'll tell you when I'm ready, and if I am ready, I'll say, okay, can I get some feedback? So like I try and do that, like going into sitting with somebody who I can tell like isn't doing too hot or whatever, like, okay, I'll be here and I'll just offer space, or I can give you some feedback if you want some. Either way, I'm going to be here to hold safe space for you, you know? And I love that you brought that up because giving back comes down to the simplest form of just saying like, hey, you're good enough. I love you. Giving somebody a smile, telling someone like, have a good day. I mean, it comes down to just these acts of kindness, right? That like I try and go through and do every day. Like that right there can change somebody's entire day.
Yeah.
Just a smile, just a hey, you're doing good, you know?
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah,
It can completely change somebody's day.
I love it.
And that's why I live like we talked about at the essence of presence, you know? Like for me, getting sober, somebody just being there and being present for me was all I needed. I didn't need you to say anything. I didn't need you to listen to what I had to say. But as long as I knew you were there and you were present, like that's all I really needed to get through a lot of my days, like my hard days, you know, was somebody that I knew had what I was looking for and they were just present with me. I was cool with that,
Yeah.
you know, and that's why it's so important to me today to be present for other people. You know, that essence of presence is something that I've just lived by and it's helped me, you know, and it's helped other people through me. Yeah, I like it a lot.
All right.
Word up.
So here we are, right? I don't want to say we're through it, but we've gotten over the hump, right? We're
Yeah.
present day Destiny, right? You've touched on it a little bit. You're working in the field, obviously. You're working in treatment. Rock Recovery, good friends of ours, great partners.
Yeah.
You've become kind of a gym rat a little bit, right? Does that come? No, so here's my question. Here's my question.
Yeah.
Does that start with Rock? Because Rock,
No.
not really. So you just fit in the Rock. Rock is like the gym rat program, which is great.
Correct.
I love it. It's
Yeah.
its own little niche.
Yeah.
So you just automatically fit in there.
God put Rock in my lap, and every day I'm thankful for it. But yeah, the gym quest started before that, right? Because a lot of times you get in, you get clean and sober. Oh, let's go to the gym and get buff or get ripped or, whatever.
It's better than
and
going to Duffy's every Friday.
Yeah.
it's, there's been ups and downs with it, right? Like I've had really good rides with the gym and then like a lot of lows with the gym. And it's like, honestly, probably after like 5 years of like just getting to a good balance of like being okay with where I'm at, right? And because my thing is like, I put my body through hell. I put shit in my body that never should have been in there. Ran it to the ground through and through and through and through. And for me, gym is therapy. Man, I get to get in there. I get to put my headphones in and block out and just like do something for me that I love, right? And my body, health-wise, being in the best shape and that it's ever been, and eating clean, drinking a gallon of water a day. Like I just physically feel better, right? To the point that I've done it for so long. Like I'm not prepping for a competition. I honestly, personally, I don't think I can get on stage in a bathing suit in front of 500 people in heels. I would probably trip and bust my ass in front of everybody. I can't do it. It just now, my heart starts like beating fast thinking about it. But like it's a lifestyle for me. It's therapy for me.
So do you think any of that comes from the physical trauma of the past?
That's a good question.
Your
Snapped femur.
your lifestyle now, how it's so much a part of your lifestyle. You think any of that comes from knowing, how much damage, and not that you didn't take part in it, but getting thrown out of a car it happens. You could have easily just gotten home safely that night, and what that became of. Do you ever think about that as compared to where you are? Like, I've done so much, or so much damage has happened to my body, not even necessarily your own fault. And is that part of why it's become such a consistent
maybe
part of your lifestyle?
Subconsciously, yeah. I haven't thought about that, but it would make sense. Just giving back to my body and my health in so many different ways. And not going overboard, right? Like learning that balance. But yeah, if I had to think about it, probably, right? Because now with where I'm at health-wise and gym-wise, people are like, wow, does your leg ever hurt? Like, you wouldn't even know that you had a rod in your leg right now that replaces your whole femur bone. And then, I show them my scar and they're like, holy shit.
What's the answer to that question? Do you ever feel it? You're like, okay, I got to chill. My legs hurt. No, I got a rod. It's like, do you have, issues?
I was just at the chiropractor yesterday with my sciatic nerve and lower back pain. And like with the amount of metal that's in there, like it gets cold and I can feel it, right? Like sometimes, not through every thunderstorm, but like
I was gonna say, are you one of those that like you're better than the weatherman? My legs hurt. It's gonna rain in a couple hours.
There's a 30% chance it's gonna rain. No, not like that. But like there are times when I notice that it does get uncomfortable, or maybe it's like a sharp pain or like almost a throbbing pain with weather and in the gym. So I make adult decisions and I'll dial it back in, because I'm capable of doing that today. But yeah, I still feel it and it still shows up, and it's a reminder that like at one time you almost died, but the gym is a very important part of my life. It is, just health-wise and physically. And I'll tell you with Rock, and it's something that I live by today. Like, we're so big on the fitness and adventure track that we do, right? Like, there's a saying, move a muscle, change a thought. So our thing is like, let's get you physically active, you're going to start to feel better, right? Like being physically active is going to release those same endorphins that the drugs and alcohol did for us. And it just gets you feeling better, And that's like, man, if I'm in my shit or something like that, like even going for a 10-minute walk outside, or doing like a quick workout or whatever, like I try and live by that today.
Yeah.
Move a muscle, change a thought.
No, absolutely. One of the treatment centers I worked for, years back, it was a big campus, so we had a lot of area. But especially when it was like a younger guy or something, one of the AMA, I would just go grab him. Come on, let's walk the yard. Let's just take a couple laps. Let's just walk
Yeah.
the yard, and
Absolutely.
talk, not talk. Let some stuff. Really try to talk about something else. Let's just get out of whatever that thing is that's got you wanting to run out of here right now. Let's just get out of that for a
Yeah.
moment, and
take a walk.
let's just walk. Let's just walk.
I like
and
that.
it does. There's
Move a muscle, change a thought.
Yeah.
I like
I
that.
like that.
It's truth to that.
Yeah, I do like that. Can we make a U-turn? I know you were
Sure,
making big lefts.
sure,
I think you
sure.
took a right. So I want to go back to
I'm just following whatever direction we go in.
the kindness thing, right?
Yeah.
The smiling at everybody, the living your life of a purpose of kindness and just being nice to everybody all the time. Do you think, question for both you guys, I'm looking for an answer. Do you philosophical question here, as Alex would say, do you think that if everybody made it a point in their day to be nicer to people, to smile to people, to hold the door open for somebody, to put the cart back, even if it isn't yours, do you think that that would cause a decrease in addiction nationwide or worldwide, right? I know it's a really hard question to answer, and there's no really simple way to put it, right? I think we had a big question like this on maybe an episode back or 2 episodes back, but do you think that if everybody just made it a point to be kinder and nicer to people, would that decrease addiction?
So
Ooh, she's ready for it.
I am. I don't know why. It clicks, and I feel strongly about this. Do I think it would decrease mental health that we struggle with? Absolutely. Right? Acts of kindness, that would 100% mental health wise. I think so.
Okay.
Addiction wise, I'm not so sure. We might see a slight decrease, but I'm of the. So this takes me back to when I first got clean and sober, right? We mentioned the trauma earlier, trauma fueling my addiction, but my trauma for me, and this is 100% me, is not the reason that I became a drug addict or alcoholic, right? We talk about it in the book and stuff I am a drug addict and alcoholic through and through because I like the effects produced, right? So eventually, once something was put in my body, it was going to trigger that allergic reaction. And sure, through the years did I use my trauma, and you don't know what I've been through or seen or whatever, and use that to this is why I'm allowed to use and act the way that I do, right? Absolutely. Fuel to the fire. But that's a loaded question.
It is.
And I can speak, and I'll only speak from my point of view. Will it improve mental health in humans? 100%, right? Acts of kindness just makes you feel like you're worth it and you're a part of and you're loved, right? But feeling worth it and a part of and loved is not going to stop me from getting high if I want to,
Yeah.
So slight decrease.
Yeah, that was a good
probably,
answer.
But that I think is going to be a lot geared towards more mental health than addiction.
I kind of have a feeling about where you're going to go with it now.
Okay, so I give me the question again.
So-
I'll pose the question myself.
Okay.
Right. So essentially, if the world was a kinder place, do we think that would have an effect on the decrease in addiction? Right. Short answer, no, I don't. And maybe some effects in mental health, yes. I don't believe so in clinically diagnosed mental health, right? Because you can tell a girl with an eating disorder, she looks fine, she looks great 1,000 times. She ain't listening.
Nope.
In her head, she don't look
She
fine.
doesn't
You
see
could
it.
tell someone clinically depressed, it's okay, it's going to be all right 1,000 times. They ain't hearing it.
Nope.
Where I do think it would have, if the world was a kinder place, where I think it would have the bigger effect is in the process of recovery. Because how many times, right, do we see, and even though it's not that person's fault, right, even though it's not the negative, or somebody makes a shitty remark or something, and somebody uses that as an excuse to go out, it's not that person's fault. You wanted to go.
Yeah.
But I think that it helps in that realm, right? If the world was a little kinder, if people were a little kinder, it would give the people who are trying to take that step a little bit of a boost, right?
I like that.
Because they have less
Yeah.
Obstacles to jump through.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Good
like that a lot.
answer.
That was a
Drop the
really-
mic and just walk out now.
That was
Drop
a
the
Thanks for
mic.
joining me.
really
Thanks for coming to my
That's
TED
what we
Talk.
have today.
No, I like that. And I think my answer would be a little similar to yours, like, and Destiny's too, you know, maybe a little mix of the two. Like, I do strongly believe in the allergy, right? I grew up great life, no trauma. I used because there was something inside of me that I was peer pressured to use the first time that activated something inside of me that got
Created
that
that
ball
monster,
rolling. Like,
yeah.
I have the allergy 100%. But I also do believe in the mental health aspect that the world in general would get better, you know, but we wouldn't be able to tie it down to one specific thing, you know, like, oh, addiction's going to get better, or mental health's going to get better, or, you know, women are going to think they look different now, or men, you know,
Yeah.
it's not going to, it's impossible to have an effect on something that's so strong, that's driven from within us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can't change. You have cancer, like, being nice to me is not going to cure cancer, you know. Addiction and cancer are equally, you know, diseases. Insurance companies cover it, you know, and if my insurance is covering it, it's a medical thing. So I don't think kindness is going to, you know, cure addiction or cure mental health. I think that, you know, the things that we do on a daily basis is what keeps it at bay.
Right.
Can I tell a quick story?
Absolutely. I love your
you made
stories.
me think of it. You made me think of it.
I've made you think of a lot today.
Is it
Yeah.
a train story?
Nice.
What's the train story? Do I have a train story?
You got a train story. Of course you have a train story. It's how you, what was the
Oh,
bus?
no, I already told that story.
Yeah,
I
I
already
just
told
didn't
that
know
story.
if Destiny wanted.
Well, you know, maybe if Destiny followed the mindful space and watched or the reels or shorts, or she is my friend on Facebook, so she should know the train
Quick
story.
cut. She's here, 6 episodes in.
Yeah.
Consider her a really good friend of mine. Hasn't seen one episode.
All right. So no. So anyway, no. You
Oh shit.
she probably hasn't watched your episode on her own on
No, definitely hasn't.
with Ben and Tom.
No,
yeah.
she definitely
You didn't watch that one either, did you?
I'm
didn't
not
show up
gonna
to
make.
it
I'm
either.
not. I'm
All
not
right, that's
gonna
fair.
make.
But anyway,
excuses. I've
back
seen
to my
some of it.
story.
I know you
Back
have.
to my story.
I've seen some
So
of it.
you talked about. You mentioned.
I just want to crawl in a hole right now. Just
Stop
Yeah,
it.
that's why we brought you here.
Take her mic away.
You talked about how you know the things you have today, right? And you specifically said, you know, it's not about, you know, physical things or, you know, cars or houses or mansions. It's not about that, but like, you know, the things that you have because of, you know, your life in recovery and the work you put in. And it made me think back. There was one time, right? I used to do groups on occasion from time, you know, in a detox. Basically, anybody could do a group. I mean,
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, I mean, really, like these,
Right.
you know, people are dope sick. They're just trying to get by. Like, you know, a guy with 30 days clean's got something to give to a
Yeah,
guy in detox.
100%.
But one of the things I always used to try to make people understand, and this is, I feel, true for me. One of the things that keeps me clean is keeping my eye on what are the things that I have that I'm not willing to lose, right? And so I remember, you know, I was doing a group in a detox, and I would explain, you know, again, we're talking about people in detox, a day clean, 2 days, 3 days clean, still, they ain't got much, right? But
Yeah.
tell me, there's got to be something. And I remember it was probably the only time I really got touched in a group. And the one kid, you know, so I would try to go around, you know, what's something you have? And the kid said to me, he said, I have breath. He said, he came in the night before. He's like, yesterday I was blue, overdosed. They had to hit me with Narcan 3 times. I was just about dead. And today I have breath in my lungs. I'm not willing to lose that. I don't know if that kid got clean. Maybe he's got 10 years. Maybe he
Yeah.
doesn't. Maybe he's dead. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I know that in that moment, he understood what I was getting at. And that was like,
Mic drop. Yeah.
man, that was the
Yeah.
realest thing I
I
ever
felt
Gratitude,
that.
man.
You know what I'm
I'm
saying?
just
And this
grateful
is a
to, like,
kid, like I got breath.
Yeah.
I was blue yesterday and dead. This is a kid with 24 hours. Not even.
Yeah.
Not even.
Just grateful for breath.
That's the world record,
grateful
right?
for the
24
breath
hours.
that I have.
I like that.
That
Ooh,
was
that gave me
so
chills.
Yeah,
powerful.
man.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
felt that
man.
in my chest.
Yeah, that's how I feel. I imagine, I'm like,
Being there, yeah,
all
and
right,
experiencing
group's over.
that.
Thanks,
Yeah,
guys.
yeah, yeah.
I got nothing else for
We're
you.
Nothing.
done.
Right.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah,
really
man.
good.
Wow.
I love
Yeah.
that.
That was powerful.
Yeah, but you made me think of that. We talk, specifically, it's not about,
It's not
the
materialistic.
things that
No.
we've, that's all cool.
Now, of course,
This
30
right
days,
here.
I'm like, oh, I'm grateful for my clothes
Right.
and a bed and everything. But
Sure.
as time goes on and the more that I grew, man, I'm grateful for unconditional love and not hating myself and like being grateful and like most of the time trying to look at life as like, these aren't things that like I have to do.
Sure.
These are things that I get to do, that I have the privilege of doing, because if it were left up to me and the drugs, I should be dead, right? Like
Absolutely.
everything I do from here on out is a privilege, an undeserved privilege that I get.
100%.
So that, right, this is a sick twist, but that goes back to the cart, right? I don't have to put the cart back. But it's doing the things that I do without having to be told to do it that makes me who I am.
Yeah.
Right? Right? And that's why I judge you for not putting the cart back.
So put the cart back.
Yeah.
Please. Make the world a better
Please
place.
put the cart back.
So, quick little question. Do you think if the world put the cart back, it would decrease addiction? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Don't get me started.
No.
Don't get me started.
We don't want to get you started. I think we're, it's about that time, right?
Yo.
We went a little
that was
over.
good, guys.
That was really good.
That
Thank
was
you.
good.
I'm really happy that you came. I know you don't like to do podcasts, but
I'm getting better.
you are.
Getting better.
You are getting better.
Yeah.
You've done a couple now, so
No, that was great.
Couple under
That
your
was
belt.
great. There was
That
times like,
really, really good.
man,
That
it's
flew
just-
by.
What time is it?
I'm like, is this girl is she gonna let one of us jump in, or is this just like a monologue?
I think this is the
now?
longest one we've done too, right? We've never
Yeah.
went. We usually don't go over an hour.
Ours was kind of
Yeah.
long.
Yeah, it was kind
But
of
we were
long.
playing chess.
We were playing chess.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, this was
that's
great.
one. You should watch that one first. I think that's our best
Playing chess.
episode.
Okay.
He dropped bombs during the episode. We had a camera up here facing straight down at the chessboard, so
That
every
was
time we
fun.
made a move, it was really, really cool.
Nice.
Yeah, but we're gonna
All
end
right.
this like I end it with every episode. I'm gonna ask you a question for you, right? And this is for you, not what you heard or what you think might have helped somebody else more than you. What if you could tell somebody who's watching this that's in active addiction or just got clean, like what was the most important thing for you early on? So for me, it was community, right? Community saved my life. That's the one thing that kept me in recovery and the reason that I'm still alive today. What was it for you?
So I've actually shared this on our podcast. I think for me was listening. I was told like while I was in treatment was to get with people outside of treatment, outside of my sober living, people, women that had time, that had been working this and like had like were living the solution, right? Because it's so easy to feed off people in your halfway house or that you're in treatment with. Like we're all battling our own demons at that point, just trying to like make it the next 24 hours.
Yeah.
But I think generally you could say like community was getting with people who had time, who could show me the things that they had done to stay clean and recovery. Because let's face it, the people that you're in treatment with, unfortunately, if not half of them are probably going to die. Statistics. It's sad, but it's true. And a lot of you, most of you, are going to part ways and never talk again. So like start building your foundation outside of that for people who have already been through this and who have experience with this. That's what saved my ass in the beginning.
That's a great answer. And I think a lot of the times too, when we ask that question, it's almost all geared towards that, right? Like that little ball of community or, finding people outside or finding people with real time. Like every time I ask the question, it's kind of almost the same answer.
Yeah.
So that's what
Good.
works.
Do me a favor. You brought it up, but we're all friends here. Can you give the podcast a plug? Yours?
Mine?
Yeah.
Real Recovery Talk.
Where can we find it? You're not.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you were, I don't know.
Give us real recovery
Oh,
talk. Who you
all right,
are,
guys,
what you
we-
offer. Yeah.
We've got a
She blew it, Ben.
yeah, I know.
Sorry, Tom.
Tom's gonna be so disappointed.
Oh, yeah.
We have a YouTube channel, Real Recovery Talk. We also are on the Apple Podcast app. Same thing, Real Recovery Talk. Over 400 episodes. Anything that you could think related to addiction recovery, we've hopefully covered. Real Recovery Talk. Check us out.
How often you drop? Weekly?
Twice or 3 times a week. So we're
that's heavy rotation.
constantly reels, trying to do reels every day. We've also got, I think, a Facebook now and Instagram, Real Recovery Talk. So trying to grow it and expand it and reach out to people who are struggling and the family members too.
That's
a lot of
awesome.
that's geared towards family members.
Yeah, you guys are also starting some kind of like family program, right? That's like a treatment center kind of, but it's virtual, but for families, so that they can help families as well. Yeah, and if you're interested in that, you could find it on Real Recovery Talk as well. Who do you work for? We didn't ask you that. Just throw it in there. We
Rock
want to know.
Recovery Center.
Cool.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
That was awesome.
You want to take us home?
Great
I
episode.
brought us in. You take us
Yeah,
home.
take us home. So again, thank you guys for watching. If you got this far, follow us, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. I don't think we have a Twitter yet. That's the producer. We're working on that. It's okay.
Twitter.
But yeah, if you guys have something
social media guy.
that you want to know, right? You want to ask me a question. You want to ask Alex a question. You want, an idea. You have an idea of something that we could do an episode on. Like, get involved. Get in the comments on social media. Get in the comments on, YouTube, and ask us questions. Get involved. That's what we're looking for, to build a community of people. Mindful Space community as well on Facebook. If you want to join it, please do. A lot of great stuff in there. People are active every day, but thank you, for watching this and, having us be part of your day, I guess we could say. With that, we'll end it. We usually do a handshake. It's usually a guy there, so I'm going to shake your hand. Cool. Thank you. My guy. Appreciate that. It's just a thing we started doing. We, at the end now, we shake hands. I don't know, but...
What if I was like, Dad, let's high five?
That's what I was thinking. But then I'm like, she's going to be like, you're sexist.
I'm a big
I
high
go,
fiver.
sorry.
I'm a big high fiver.
Yeah?
I'm down with a high five. Bring it in.
That was a good one.